All right, good morning. Time for another sunrise sermon. Getting up in here on a Sunday morning. God bless. We want to talk about Nehemiah. Nehemiah and three reasons why Christian leaders need enemies. Three reasons why Christian leaders need enemies. Just that simple. It's just that simple. Um, we need to be able to learn how to live with opposition, live with the challenge of opposition, and nothing like it, um, as we can see from a biblical perspective. The opposition is going to render some results that we couldn't get if it didn't exist. Thank God. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. Here we go, y'all. Nehemiah chapter 2. I'm going to break this down into bits and pieces and not read this in its entirety, but go through it section by section along with some of my answers. Um, in Nehemiah chapter 2, Nehemiah has received some support from the king. He's on his way to um, the gates in his homeland of Jerusalem to check some things out. And when he gets there, he had been there for 3 days, and then he decided to survey the area. But here's one of the things that happens as he arrives with horsemen and an army that the king has provided him. In verse 9, in verse 10, the the people who are in town, who are doing things, running things, right? You know how some folks run the town, run the area. The folks who are in town running things say, hey, who are these guys? And so it says when Sanballat, the Horonite, and Tobiah, the Ammonite official, heard of it, they were deeply disturbed that a man had come to seek the well-being of the children of Israel. They were bothered by it. They were disturbed by it. They had a problem with it. And what happens is um, it causes a stir. It causes a stir. And so they were greatly disturbed that someone would come and check on the condition of the children of Israel. Keep in mind, Sanballat is also um, a ruler, not just as a Horonite, he is a ruler um, over a Samaritan region. Samaritans are still relatives of the children of Israel, but they are definitely at odds, especially after how things went when they were carried off into captivity to Babylon. And so that's where that history is. So that's verse 10. And I want to say right after that, hearing that, Nehemiah does something interesting. Nehemiah goes dark. Nehemiah goes dark for what appears to be, like I said, 3 days? 11 says, so I came to Jerusalem and I was there 3 days. Then I rose in the night. 3 days, right? Goes dark, 3 days. Then I rose in the night. Verse 12. Here we go. I rose in the night and go out, check everything out, and listen to this. If you're a leader, listen to this. This is the keynote. If you're a leader in the faith community, in the church, business, whatever it might be, listen to this. This is the keynote right here. I went out and who did I tell? I told no one what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. See, that's one reason why we need enemies. We know some folks are disturbed that we're even concerned about the condition of the community. And now we've been here for a while. We've been seeing how things go during the day. Let's see what it looks like at night. Let's see what's really happening. Let's check out what's happening around here in this neighborhood at night and what's going on. I told no one what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. Told no one. That was Nehemiah's thinking and rationale behind going out after the third day at night. Sometimes we need an enemy, an opposition, an oppositional force waging against us because it forces us to, let's be real, it forces us to step our game up. You got to step up your game. When you're dealing with an enemy and someone that can really get into it with you, you got to step your game up. Man, I remember playing basketball and playing power forward in high school and being, no, you know who you're going to play. You know who you're going to play that week, right? It's all given there. And I remember being set up to play against certain guys that I had been playing against for a couple of years or had played against in junior high, and we played the same position and saying, okay, I'm going to be matched up with this guy. Okay, I got to step up. I got to step up and deliver. I got to box this guy up. I got to dribble this guy down. I got to block his shot. I got to do. It forces you, when you have a worthy opponent, it forces you to step your game up. And one of the things that it forced Nehemiah to do was it forced him to keep his plans in his heart. Right? When you're facing a worthy opponent, your initial move won't be that of a Joseph to start blabbing what God has shown you and told you and where it's going to leave everybody else. When you're facing a worthy opponent, your initial move may be forced to keep your plans in your heart. Play it close to the vest. Don't share too much with too many folks, right? If anybody, because guess what? Loose lips sink ships, right? You gotta be on guard. You gotta be on guard. And so that was one of the first things we realized as we walked through this text, that you have to keep your plans. You got to keep your plans close to your heart. So we're going through this, and Nehemiah is going through here, and he's surveying the conditions of the area by night, what's happening with the fountain gate, the valley gate, the walls that have been burned. And all this is happening, but he still has in the back of his mind that Sanballat and these other haters are already deeply disturbed by him. And by the time he gets done surveying the land, they've come to this point in verse 18, right? Look at this. And this is Nehemiah talking to the people who are in his company, the people who, the priests, the remnant of God's people who he is trying to stir up and get excited about building God's plan, God's walls again. He says it like this. And this reads real simple. And I told them of the hand of my God, which had been good upon me, and also of the king's words that he had spoken to me. So they said, let us rise up and build. Then they set their hands to this good work. Look, they heard it, they took it to heart, and then they got their hands ready. They heard it, they took it to heart, and they got their hands ready, right? And so he rallied them. This is the remnant who had been the reproach, and now they're rallied to do the good work. But think about this. In the midst of him rallying the remnant, Nehemiah shared his experience, his personal experience with God, what God had done, what God had shown him, not only through the kindness of the king and his generosity, but also what God had shown him on his journey there and as he surveyed the conditions. Right? That's what Nehemiah did. And so these were the Jews, the priests, the nobles, the officials, and the others who did the work. Right? This is who he's talking to. You can reference that in verse 16. And so he shares the condition, he shares what God has done and put on his heart and the good that they can do, and they agree to do it. Now check this out. Now, right when things are going good and we got the troops rallying and we're ready to go, here comes some haters, right? And this is the second reason why we need to learn how to live with enemies as Christian leaders. The second reason we need to learn how to live with enemies as Christian leaders is they'll keep you keeping people at a distance, right? They'll keep you keeping people at a distance. And I say that because Nehemiah may have shared his personal experience, but he didn't share what he thought about the haters. He didn't share his personal views on Sanballat and what he had to say, or the other officials and what they had to say. You know what I mean? He didn't get in the tit for tat of sound bites, right? When we look at these elected officials, right, it can get testy, it can get touchy, and we start talking about, man, what was going on there? That's what Nehemiah didn't engage in. And you can test yourself, right? You can test yourself and engage yourself and see, okay, how am I doing as a leader? By how much mess are you digging into? How much mud are you slinging? How much are you getting personal and taking it personal and making it personal? If you're taking it personal and making it personal, you're not doing a good job as a leader. Let's just stop right there. If you're taking it personal and making it personal, you are not doing a good job as a Christian leader. It's not about you. And Nehemiah shared that because he shared, right, what was going on with what God had done in showing him favor and what God had shown him when he surveyed the land, the walls, the gates, and the ruins. Look, it says, but when Sanballat, the Horonite, Tobiah, the Ammonite official, and Geshem, the Arab, heard of it, they laughed at us and despised us. Right? They laughed at us and despised us. Now it's not so much about being disturbed, but now it's about being despised, right? You went from being disturbed to being despised. So we understand one of the reasons Christian leaders need enemies is keeping your plans in your heart. The other reason Christian leaders need enemies is this very thing, keeping your people at a distance. It's not personal. Keep your feelings out of it and keep your people at a distance from your emotion, right? From your feelings, from your opinion, right? If you don't have an official statement, no comment, right? If you don't have a biblical response, no comment, right? If you're going to go to it, let's go ahead. You know, let's say Ephesians 4:29, right? Ephesians 4:29. Let no unwholesome, right? Let no unwholesome thing come out of your mouth, right? Let that be the fact, right? Let that be the thing that's going on. And if we're honest, right, we'll know that Ephesians 4:29 can keep us from getting into some verbal battles with folks that we don't need to get into, and we can keep it right there. And so when we say, let no unwholesome word come out of your mouth, only the things that are encouraging and edifying, then that gives us a scale by which to say, did I do that or did I not? That gives us a measure by which to check ourselves and see, where am I? How did I fall into this today? Where did I land today with that? As a Christian leader, you've got to accept, come on, y'all, the testing and the teasing and the threatening of the haters, the enemies. You've got to withstand that. You've got to take that. They're going to tease you and talk about you and taunt you and threaten you and try to throw you off track. You've got to take that as a Christian leader. They're going to go from being disturbed about you to being despised, to despising you, because you're going to have to take that as a Christian leader, because the expectation is right there. Ephesians 4:29. I'm telling you, the expectation is given to us in Ephesians 4:29 that we're not going to be up here talking trash. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be up here talking mess. We're not going to be over here throwing it right back at them, slinging it, and saying, I wish you would. I'll let you know. Right? I try to tell people all the time, in a modest way, I try to tell people all the time. I know two places that I know God is still working on me. The basketball court and freeway. The basketball court, because when things don't go right, I'm jumping in, I'm talking trash, I'm talking crazy, right? Lord help me, forgive me. The freeway, people driving crazy, acting silly, and here I am, blah, 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 blah. Lord, touch my mouth, Lord, touch my lips. That's how I know God's still working on. I'll admit it. I'm there. And so as a leader, have some measure of, hey, You know, how am I going to make it through the day without taking it personal or making it personal? How am I going to get through this battle without taking it personal or making it personal? That's where you got to be as a leader. That's where you got to land the plane at the end of the day. That's what you got to do. And so they went from being something that was disturbing the folks to something that they despised. You'll see later they were talking real crazy to them, calling them off the wall and everything. And Nehemiah and them had to get swords and spears and to bring along with their equipment. You know, this wasn't a regular construction site, if we could say it like that. And so we know having enemies will force you to keep your plans in your heart. Number one, we know having enemies will force you to keep your people at a distance. But I love what comes up in verse 20 of this chapter, Nehemiah chapter 2. Verse 20 of Nehemiah chapter 2 is Nehemiah's response to this new level of hatred that they're receiving from Sanballat and his other officials. He says it like this. So I answered them and said to them, the God of heaven himself will prosper us. The God of heaven himself will prosper us. Therefore we, his servants, will arise and build. But you have no heritage or right or memorial in Jerusalem. Our God is going to help us. As his servants, we're going to get up and build this thing and tend to it. But as for you, this ain't none of your business. You ain't got nothing to do with this. This is all about us and our God. Right? The final reason why Christian leaders need enemies is precisely that. It keeps you relying on your purpose. It keeps you returning to your purpose. It keeps you reminding yourself of your purpose. Your purpose. We're here to get up and build this thing. We're here to accomplish something in the name of God. We're here to tackle this task in the name of God. We're here to do this in the name of God. We're not here to play around. And so listen, your enemies can stir up a whole bunch of stuff in you, but it needs to force you to keep your plans in your heart. It needs to force you to keep your people at a distance. And it needs to force you to keep your purpose at the forefront. Don't forget that. Your enemies are just there as a reminder of what you really are called to do and what you should be doing and where you should be placing your focus. God will take care of them. God will take them out however he needs to. But they're like, oh, yeah. We got this wall surrounding Jericho. I think we need to take a moment and pray before we start marching around this wall. Oh, yeah. We've got this river called Jordan that we need to cross. I think we might need to gather up and pray and let folks know, consecrate themselves, because today the Lord's going to do something amazing, miraculous in your lives. Come on now. What are we doing when we face opposition? Are we breaking down and falling apart because there's some opposition to what we're trying to do? I just shared this yesterday, and it goes right along with what I'm pushing into 2026. It goes right along with all of that when I say 2 Timothy 4:5 says, not only be sober minded, not only be watchful, but endure suffering, endure hardships, take the hard times, right? Take the hard times as part of what comes with it. Take the hatred. That's what's going to come with this, because you have the responsibility of doing something greater than your haters. God be with you. God bless you. Stay true to your calling as a faith leader. Accept the fact that we all need enemies to keep us grounded by faith. Amen.